So, hi. So this is the Git and GitHub tutorial for absolute noobs. So the thing is, okay, let me mute my other stream. Yeah, I was just checking if the audio was correct, but so let's just get something straight out of from here that this tutorial is based for complete noobs who just want to get started with Git and GitHub and don't want to delve into the deep knowledge of Git and you know you know make a fuss out of it. They just want to get started and start making their own projects and contribute to open source. So in this lecture, okay, first let me share my screen. We are going to refer a guide. So we are going to focus on some basic terminologies from this guide. So actually, this is a Git handbook, and the link for this is given in the description below. So, what is actually a version control system, or in VCS? A VCS is something that tracks the history of the changes as people and teams collaborate on a project together. As the project evolves, teams can run tests, fix bugs, and contribute new code with confidence that any version can be recovered at any time. Developers can review the project to find out when the changes were made in the project, who made those certain changes, when were the changes made, why were the changes needed. So, what is the need of version control system actually? So, in this mm, text which we have already seen here, it says that we need to track down the history of changes that people have proposed to the project, so that something if something breaks down in the later stage of the project, we can revert back to the previous stage or the stable build of a product. Yeah. So, and after this we are going to see what's in distributed version control system. So actually, uh, Git, as you might have seen in the title below, the Git is an example of distributed version control system (DVCS), commonly used for open source and commercial software development. DVCS allows full access to every file will look into what branches and the iteration of project. Like I said, the history of the project can be tracked, right? So there are iterations of a project version 0.1, 0.2, 1.01, and 1.02, and things like that, and allows every user access to a full and self-contained history of all the changes that have occurred, unlike once popular centralized version control systems. DVCs like Git don't need a constant connection to central repository. People can work offline and commit to the repository. Okay, we'll come on to what repository is later, but for now, let's just consider these repository as folders which you share online as project or open source projects. Maybe not open source, you can keep them private as well, but we are also focusing on something known as open source contribution. We'll deal with it a little later in this lecture. Developers can work anywhere and collaborate asynchronously from any time zone. Without version control, team members are subject to redundant tasks, slower timelines, multiple copies of single projects. So imagine a project which is at a scale of, which has multiple developers working into the same project. So there can be some, subject to redundant tasks if VCS was not there. There could have been slower timelines. People could not merge the project if all the developers are not in the same room. They had to maintain a file system for all the projects and all the other redundant tasks, which would have been really harder if VCS was not there. To eliminate this unnecessary work, Git and other VCS give each contributor a unified and consistent view of the project, surfacing work that has already been in progress. So seeing a transparent history of all these changes, who made them and how they contribute. Okay. who made them, and how they contribute to the development of a project helps the team members to stay aligned while working independently. You get the gist of the idea, which I already said, right? So why Git? So according to the latest Stack Overflow developer survey, more than 70% of developers use Git, making it the most used VCS in the world. There might have been other VCS also previously. You can check it out on the internet, but Git is worldly recognized. So Git is commonly used for both open source and commercial software development, with significant benefits for individual teams and businesses. So Git lets providers see the entire timeline of changes, decisions, and progression of any project in one place. From the moment they access the history of the project, the developer has all the context they need to understand it and start contributing. Developers work in every time zone with DVCs like Git. Collaboration can happen anytime, maintaining open source integrity, maintaining that, right? So using branches, what are branches? So the iteration of this, the whole repository can broken down into branches. Something like a fix in a project, and then they can be merged together inside the main branch, the master branch of the same repository. We'll deal into branches a little later, or in the other tutorial, because we are focusing on things which are bare minimum, and just you just need it for you to get started and start making your own projects. Businesses using Git can break down communication barriers between teams and keep them focused on doing their best work. Git makes it possible to align experts across businesses and to collaborate major projects. Okay, so we were talking about repository, right? So a repository or a Git project actually encompasses the entire collection of files and folders associated with the project. So let's say you are making a website. All the files and the folders which are required to functionally run a website are contained inside that repository, which is hosted on a you know VCS provider like GitHub, uh, along with each file's revision history. So we can handle the website from there. So I was just giving the example of files and folders associated with the project, so we can see it later on. So the file history that appears as snapshots in time called commits. These are commits which have been file history that appears as a snapshot of the same repository. We can give also a commit message to that snapshot of the project, and the commits exists as a linked list relationship. They can be organized into multiple lines of development called branches. So what are branches? They can be organized into multiple lines of development. They can be broken down from that version into branches of the same repository, which are called branches actually. So meaning of branches is quite literal, okay, here. And the branches can be then merged if they are stable. Because Git is a DVCS, repositories are self-contained units, and anyone who owns a copy of the repository can access the entire code base, its history, using the command line and other use of interfaces. A Git repository also allows for interaction with history, cloning, creating branches, committing, merging the project, comparing changes across the version of code, and more. So there's a lot that we need to cover before we get started. So just to get your attention a little bit, so we'll see what Git is. Git download. You can download Git. So here is the. So depending on whatever operating system you use, I use Mac OS, and a larger number of people use Windows. So you can use Windows and go download this for your 62-bit or 32-bit Windows setup. Okay, and then after that, it's pretty self-explanatory to install Git. So there can be a CLI for Git as well. You can you know it's pretty the wizard is pretty self-explanatory. So after downloading Git, you need to make an account on GitHub. So what is GitHub? You can browse to github.com, and sorry about that. I need to log out and show you. You can make a new account. You can sign up for a new account with bare minimum details. You can already get started with making. You can enter your email. Let's say this test email.com at gmail.com. Yeah, just to get you started, you can create your password and enter some basic minimal details and get started with your GitHub account, online GitHub account. So I'm gonna sign in. You can complete this later and just follow along. So I have my account. So this is what GitHub actually looks like. So this portion of your, okay, I'm gonna zoom in. So this portion, you can go to your profile. So this is your profile, and this is a custom README that I have already made for my GitHub account. You will not already have it. So the thing is, okay, so we are experiencing GitHub, right? So I'm just gonna put a banner here, and let's just get started with GitHub and what GitHub is. So this is your profile. You can edit whatever your bio is over here. You can put in whatever institution you work in, or the college you go to, where you're from, places, email, and relevant links. All right, Twitter and things like that. So this thing, which you can customize your whole README, is 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 the same repository name. So how do you make a new repository? So this is how you make a new repository. You can see the plus sign over the top, right? You can click on new repository, and I'm going to make this test repository, test repo, short for repository. You can add a description for the same. So I'll add the description for the same. This is a test repository just to learn Git and GitHub. All right. You can add a README file which explains what your repository or what your project does. You can check onto this and then create a repository. So in order to use this repository locally from your own system, what you can do is you can use GitHub CLI, Git CLI, or you can use a simpler version of GitHub, which is known as GitHub Desktop. So you can use this. So how can you download GitHub Desktop? You can just Google GitHub Desktop, or if you don't want to, the link is always in the description. So you can download it for your respective operating system. When you are done downloading, you need to set up some credentials for the same. So I'll show you around what the setting is. You can go inside your profile settings, and then you can go inside. I guess this is security, billing plans, SSH and GPG keys. So the thing is, you can get your SSH keys, and then you can set up your GitHub from the GitHub CLI. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get it set up on your system, there'll be no redundant tasks whatsoever. So let's go to our repository where we were here. So after you are done downloading with the GitHub Desktop, what you can do is you can open it with GitHub Desktop. And the other thing that you can do is you can download a code editor. Preferred code editor which I use is VS Code. you can download VS Code from here. VS Code. So what VS Code is? It's just a code editor which supports good. That has a beautiful extension repository. You can download it from here for your respective operating system, and then you can get it started. You can log in with log in into Git on your VS Code. So I'll show you around VS Code. So we actually did open GitHub desktop, right? So here was the GitHub desktop. Okay, so the thing with GitHub desktop is, let's see it nicely. So yeah, oh, okay, sorry, not do that. So the thing is, you can fetch the origin from here, from this tab. You can fetch whatever is inside this repo. You can also add a file from here. You can change whatever inside is the readme file. So you can this repository name is test repo, and this test repository is just to learn Git and GitHub. So the thing with markdown files, this file is a readme.md, right? So also you can rename your files from here, readme.md. So md.md is a markdown file. So markdown file has a is a set of instructions. So you can see what a markdown, right? GitHub. You can see what markdown is. Learn master markdown from this beautiful guide from GitHub. I'll paste it in the yeah. So not here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you can master markdown from it. So basically, what markdown is, it's just a way to style text on web. You can control the display of the document, format words, bold, italic, and mostly this is what markdown is used for. Just you know, you can use it for just what a GitHub just simple, just like this. And then this is an example. So this is how you can do italics in markdown, and these are simple headers. This is an h1 tag. If you've done HTML, you can relate to this. So this one hashtag and a space, and then whatever is written here comes out as h1, and this is h2 and respectively. You can create emphasis with all these characters between your sentences. You can create lists like this, ordered lists like this. Indentation is important, and then you can use images. Format for image is, you can give an exclamation mark, then you can write inside an alt text inside square brackets, and the URL for the image inside simple brackets. All right. So this is how you can make, if you've done HTML, href inks, you can href attribute anchor links here like this, with just like you've done images, but without the exclamation mark, you can do links. This is the text which appears on the links. So this is basic markdown. All right. So I'll do some changes. This is commit message. What is commit message? So you made some changes in the file and you are going to commit it. So this is going to be a new version of the file. So what did we do? We just manipulated this header, updated the header. So you can say updated the header. All right. You can commit changes. All right. Yeah. So this is done. Now let's go on to GitHub desktop. So after you are done installing Visual Studio Code, you can open this same repository inside Visual Studio Code. This is how you, by just clicking this button. And my VS code is going to open. Yeah. So in order to log in and start pushing your code through VS Code itself, you have to set up some things in VS Code, which I'll show you how to do. This is where how you can, push your code. So I'm going to make a new Markdown file. This is just test.md. So see what happened here. I did not pull the repository, so the name did not get changed over here, and it's still the same. Still the same. So I need to pull first. So how can I do that? I'll just pull the origin from the online repository to my offline for my offline access. So you can see this indicates that one file has changed. So we are not done editing yet. So we'll not commit right now. After we're done, we'll do that. So we learned about the heading, right? H1 heading. So this is a test file, and I am going to upload this now. Yeah, so I'm done. I'm gonna save it and then come over here. We are going to stage this commit. So what's a staging is whatever changes are inside your file, inside VS Code, you can click this plus icon, or you can go inside the GitHub desktop. Then it already gets staged by itself inside the all the process. When you commit, it gets done by itself. In VS Code, there's a nifty little button here, so you can stage the changes and then you can enter your message, and then you can press Command Enter. And for Windows, you respectively can see the shortcut, whatever it is, and you can commit from VS Code itself, or conversely from GitHub Desktop as well. So we are going to focus on GitHub Desktop for now. So created test file just for checking. Okay, we are going to commit this, and after committing, we have to push to the origin. We have committed, and now we are going to push to origin remote mm, mm, branch of this repository. So now that we have pushed, now we can view on GitHub. We can see what the code is like. So we have updated over here. So here is the commit message. It was done 24 seconds ago, and this is test.md. Okay, this is a test file, and I have uploaded it now. So you can see this. So this is the commit message. You can see whatever changes were made. These were the code lines, lines which have been added, and then yeah. So you can conversely comment on this commit. If you're working on a big project, you can say whatever, say valuable suggestions to the contributor. Yeah. So I'm gonna check. So we are basically done with some experiences, but we are going to get back to basic terminologies because that's really important. So we are going to just skim through the basic Git command so that anyone who wants to learn Git commands is not left out. Okay. So just to use Git, developers use specific commands to copy, create, change, and combine code. These commands can be executed directly from the command line or by using an application like GitHub Desktop or Git Kraken. So what we used was GitHub Desktop, and why we used it, we could just use the command line as well, but we did not. We just wanted to get started as soon as possible. So here are the commands uh, for the enthusiastic people. So the command git init, what it does is it just initializes a brand. Excuse me. It initializes a new Git repository, brand new Git repository, and starts tracking an existing repository inside it. So it adds a hidden subfolder within the existing directory that houses the internal data structure of the required version control. So let me show you. Uh, I usually keep all my GitHub repos here. So it was test repo was the project. So I have all my hidden files on. So you can see this .git folder It's all the relevant files which are required to functionally control all the Git and version control system stuff. Okay, these are all the files, in order for Git to work. And these are all the files. Um, yeah. So we are done with Git init. Now we are going to see Git clone. What Git clone does is, what we did was, for this repository, we opened it with GitHub desktop. We could have copied this, just to clone this, we could have copied and we could have written inside the terminal, or if you have command prompt, that's your wish. Item, yeah. So item is the commanding application which I use. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do git. Okay, I'm going to change my directory to desktop. Top. I'm gonna see whatever is there. Okay, so now no folders are there. I'm going to clone here my git clone. So you can clone this repo. Yeah. So you can see inside my desktop. You can, okay, sorry about that. So here is the test repo which we cloned. So all the files which were there have come downloaded, and so you can start contributing from here as well. Okay. So that was that. Let me go back to the handbook. So Git clone creates a local copy for the project. Now, what does Git add do? Whatever changes you make inside the repository. So if I need to open that same repository, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open this test repo with VS Code. So you can just drag and drop it to VS Code, and then it will work inside Mac. For Windows, you can do it respectively. You can use the code dot function as well. So what I will do is, I'm going to make some more changes. As I made more changes, you can see here, what was the command? So git add is what, conversely, for inside VS Code was uh, test. Okay, test 2.md. So we are dealing with a lot of markdown files here. This is a test yet again, and I'm gonna save it. And so here, when you go to the source code, which you could see here, is we could stage the changes. What git add does is it just stages all the changes. Okay, Git drags the changes to a developer's code base, but it is necessary to take a snapshot of the changes to include them in the project's history. This command performs staging, the first part of the two-step process. Any changes that are staged will become a part of the next snapshot or the commit, and a part of the project history. Staging and commit separately gives developers complete control over the history of their project without changing how the code works. So now I'm gonna, git add uh, git add everything in this folder. Okay, I'm going to change to test repo. Now I'm going to, inside this folder, whatever files are there, I'm going to add all of them to stage. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to check the status. I'm going to commit this. Okay, git commit, and then it saves the snapshot, the project history, and completes the change tracking process. The commit function is like taking a photo. So you can, I heard this somewhere. So in order to take a photo or a snapshot of something, you need to invite everyone to the stage. So you can imagine this as a marriage function. So what Git add does is it invites everyone to the stage, and then what you can do is the photographer can take a snapshot, and that's how it's done by using Git commit. Okay, a simple analogy. So we can do Git commit. Yeah, so the commit is test. Okay, so yeah, so what happened is, yeah, so I can do a git status. So it says that your branch is ahead of origin main by one commit. We can use git push to publish to local commits. Okay, so in order to use branch, we'll deal with branch and everything later, and merge in the next lecture. We're just focusing on simple projects for now so that you can get started. So what you can do is git push now. So since you have already committed, commit git push. All right, it's already done. So we can check it inside the test repo. Another file should have come here by now. Yeah, so it's done uh, 2 minutes ago. Yeah, this is the commit message test, which we already did. And that's a wrap for Git. All right. So more Git commands, you can explore it from here. You can use Git pull to whatever changes have been done inside the Git repository. You can use Git pull to extract all those changes in your local repository. And you can read this blog, beautiful blog, in order to understand GitHub flow and other things. Now we are going to see some cool things, awesome, amazing tools for GitHub README. This has been an good topic for me. So one repository that I own is I've been studying Java from a few days. So this is the repository that I own. So I'll show you around this repository, and I'll also show you how a pull request works. So you can see a pull request is already made. So there's some pull request by some person inside my repository. He has done question number 12 from, this is actually an assignment repository. So this is what he has done. So whatever files have been changed is he has added this question number 12. So these are all the lines that have been newly added. So inside this, we can, you know, put an emoji or thank you. We can celebrate this pull request, and then we can merge this pull request from GitHub UI. You can do this in CLI as well. You can search it around. It's pretty easy. Okay. So the pull request got accepted. Yeah. This is how a pull request works. So in order to make a pull request, I'll show you around how to make a pull request later in the next tutorial. So this README file of the repository shows you around whatever it it looks good. You can explain the repository from here. So this is the repository that I own, and I have a beautiful image here, which is from socially fi sorry about that. 50. So this is from socialify.git.ci. You can insert your Git repo and get a banner from here. So what we created today was inside my repositories. the test repo. Here is the test repo. So this is the link. So this is your username, https colon slash slash github.com, your username and the repo name. In the next tutorial, we'll also see how a simple, you can make a simple web page out of a repo from GitHub without taking any domain or anything. So you can design your banner from here. I prefer dark and I prefer some of the other styles. Let's say Charlie Brown. We can, exclude the stars and we can include the description. And so now here we can take down the markdown tag from here and insert inside the test repo. So what I'm going to do is inside this, after this heading, I'm going to paste this markdown and preview it before that. So you can see this is a beautiful banner that has been automatically generated using this beautiful website. Shout out, you can, upload this on product hand. Yeah. So, and another amazing resource is readme, readme.io. So yeah. So in order to get started, we are going to get started. So this I already used this website, so I can reset this. What you can do with this website is you can, there are some already made structures for readme. You can use acknowledgement and then insert your own links here. You can insert demos, documentation, FAQ, features, GitHub profile introduction, about me, whatever. This is actually what I was talking about, the special repository. We are also going to look into that because this is the awesome section of the tutorial. So this is the GitHub. I'm gonna put this inside the description. Awesome links. Dot echo. And the other thing was, okay, sorry about that. Here we go. Okay. So yeah, I did the changes. You can look into the description and start using all these awesome um, tools for GitHub. So was talking about those special repository. So my username is that beautiful dream. I made a same repository called that beautiful dream, and inside it, I made a README file. So this README file consists of all the fancy thing that it gets shows when person goes to github.com slash my username. Okay, and you can also make your own by making a repository of that same username as your GitHub profile. Okay, so this is all the cool stuff that I've been doing. So these are awesome icons. You can, you can go in this link and then just, click on draw and just see whatever is there. And, you can hopefully copy it and then replace your links and then use it as you like it. Yeah, so that was about it for the lecture. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you spending your time in something so beautiful. Uh, Thank you, and happy making projects and welcome to open source. Yeah, thank you.